a recap should have happened a lot sooner than right now. And there's a good excuse for it. I was watching both NFC and AFC championship game today, which is very important for my culture because I love football to tears. And I also wanted to keep an eye on the Super Bowl matchup, and now we know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. So, congratulations to Kansas City Chiefs for going back to the Super Bowl for the second straight year. Not too many teams get the privilege to do that. Well, Tampa Bay, on Tom Brady's first season, is going to the Super Bowl again. So, where I grew, Florida, where I grew up, Florida native, maybe I should go for the Buccaneers, since they're not really rivals with the Dolphins, but we shall see what happens. So, given a good privilege. Anyway, back to the Miami topic. This week I have not been pleased at all of how we have played. This was an ugly week, but it wasn't horribly ugly. Like it's not to the point where I declare Miami. I actually have some hair problems. It's not to the point where I'm creating or I'm declaring a Miami disaster week. No, it wasn't that bad. If it was bad, then you would probably know just how horrible the week was. But this was an ugly week, and I'm very disappointed how some of the teams, including the team who I had a heavy favorite on making it to the playoffs this year, my prediction is becoming a freaking jinx. So, before we talk about it, let's talk about the Miami Hurricanes, the men's team, who are, no question, the loser of the week. They played against the Syracuse Orange, who, by the way, had an 11-2 start against the Syracuse Orange. Since that 11-2 run, the Hurricanes were being outclassed, right? 11-2 run, right? They had 11 points and Syracuse had 2 points. A big lead. In 2 minutes, next thing you know, the Orange were up by 20. How can a defense that bad let the Orange get up so high that quickly after being up 11-2? That's just, you can't do that. That loss is embarrassing. By the way, the final score is 57-83 Orange. Walker with 13 points, Brooks 6 points, Isaiah Wong 16, Beverly 3, and Olenigi 4. Courier 18, Dolcik Tai, Dolezak 0, Griffin 5, Gerard III 23, and Boheim 23. The dynamic duel of Syracuse Orange. Then the next game, in which I didn't watch the game because I probably should have, but I was watching the AFC game, which happened today. So I didn't watch the highlights of it either. So I can't really tell you what really happened in that one. Although there is an interesting stat, and that is Miami Hurricanes got beat by a B team. Let me show you what I mean. Zona 0 points. This is a starter. Sanders Jr. 0 points. Another starter. Elijah Morgan 0 points. Another starter. Ryan 5, a starter, and JoJo 5, another starter. Why am I bringing up starter, right? The starters on Notre Dame Fighting Irish, which, by the way, they did play, only had 10 points off starting. Starters with 10 points. 2 players with 5 points. 10 points from starters. And look, I have no reason to lie to you. Look, I have no reason to lie to you. Okay? You can pause the video, look at it for yourself. I have no reason to lie to you. 5 points from the starters and 63 off the bench. 63 points off the bench from Notre Dame. 63 points off the bench from Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Talk about a college team getting beat by a middle school team. I am embarrassed. I am disgusted. Cross 0 points. Brooks 6 points. Isaiah Wong 16 points. Olaniyi 10 points. And McGusty 20 points. You know how many points we scored off the bench? 7. You let this happen again, then expect me to not watch some of your games anymore, because this shit is embarrassing. This should not happen. 63 points off the bench, and we only scored 59. This is an ugly loss. And I didn't watch the game. And I'm going to say, good thing I didn't watch the game, because I was super pissed. Women's team, they played on Thursday. Hurricanes had a horrible start. The score was 31-10 in the first quarter. Second quarter, very different story. This is the team that I love to see often, right? You're losing big, you come back big. That's exactly what the Hurricanes did. They scored 10 points in the first quarter, while Pittsburgh scored 31 points. Pittsburgh scored 6 points in the second quarter. Hurricanes scored 26. Okay? So 10 plus 26 equals 36. And 31 plus 6 equals 37. So halftime score was 37-36. After 31-10. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Defensive rebounds. Then, in the third quarter, Hurricanes were as dominant as they were all first half. And next thing you know, they won the game 72-68. A killer loss for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but a nice win for the women's basketball team. Nabandu with 15 points. Hudson with 2. Marshall with 21 points. She had a big game. Mason had 4. Banks had 13. This is in Pittsburgh, by the way. So think of how big how big this win is for Miami, right? Brown with 8 points. Akabokwe with 12. Green with 6. Harris with 4. And Everett with 13. A good win. Will it be enough against Louisville and Georgia Tech and Boston? With the way how we played, I'll be honest, as a legitimate, or not legitimate, but realistic standpoint, Louisville is number 1 in the country. Louisville women's team, number 1 in the entire country. They're 14-0. They're undefeated. So with the way how we played, there's no chance. But there is a chance against Georgia Tech, and there's certainly a rebounding chance against Boston College. And after that, we got 8 games left. And we got some familiar foe. NC State, we lost against them. Then we have a makeup game with Florida State, which was postponed. So that's going to be fun. Next, who I would have put them as the winner of the week if it wasn't for one thing. Their turnover problem, their rebounding problem, and their defensive problem. I can't tell you how embarrassed I am from these last 2 games. Start off good, and they ended in an embarrassment. Miami Heat with the rematch against the Detroit Pistons. Um, they were down in the first half, and in the second half they rebounded back with the big name who came back, Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo with a huge block to ultimately seal the win for the Miami Heat. This is the defense that I really need. This is the defense that I really want now, because these last two games we didn't have such a good thing like that. And it's a shame that one guy is carrying the team while other two players have a neck problem and having a COVID problem. We cannot rely on one player. We have to rely on more players. Gabe Vincent, get your shit together. Strauss, get your shit together, because we definitely need to. We're into some kind of panic mode. We shouldn't be in panic mode, but it looks like we're going to be in panic mode if we cannot change. Miami Heat coming back from losing the game against Detroit Pistons, who we should not have lost on the Saturday, but we rebounded back. Blake Griffin with 5 points. Jeremy Grant with 27 points, going for that layup, and he was the player that Bam Adebayo had a huge block at the end of the game, in which that's how he won the game. The Bam Adebayo block. Plumlee with 15 points, Ellington with 24 points, Wright with 2 points. Derrick Rose had 21 points. Can't sleep on him. For Miami, Kelly Olynyk had 9. Akpala with none. Adebayo with 28 points and 11 rebounds. 11 rebounds. Don't forget it. 11 rebounds. We need rebounds. And 1 block, and that was that huge block at the end of the game. Gordon Dragic, 22. We need those players to step up more. Duncan Robinson with 18 points. Kendrick Nunn, who was a star. He was a really great player this week who we really needed badly. We need him to get better. So that's the Detroit Pistons. Our first time going to Toronto ever. Preseason does not count, so don't get fooled. All right, so 111, 102. By the way, the final score of the other game was 113-107, Miami Heat. The next game, they go to Tampa Bay, or Tampa. I'm sorry, Tampa people. They go to Tampa, and they can't go to Toronto because of, ongoing what we're doing right now. Kelly Olynyk with 15 points. Bam Adebayo with 14 points. Gordon Dragic with 17 points. Gabe Vincent with 3 points. Duncan Robinson, 14 points. Kendrick Nunn had 28 points. Andre Iguodala had 13 points. For Toronto, Siakam with 18 points. Anunoby, 18 points. Baines, 3. Kyle Riley is a wrestler at NXT. Lowry, 8 points. And Van Fleet, 24 points. This game, I actually enjoyed watching this game, even if we were losing, right? At least we're losing in a close game, right? Now, this game, there was some back and forth leads. Not for the most part, the Heat had an advantage, but there were a couple of chances for Toronto. But the way how Toronto played and holding off Kyle Lowry with 8 points, you got to feel for the coach for Toronto, who was not very pleased. And selfishly enough to know that, yeah, he motivated the team to the point where he won the next game. I guess you could say we own the state of Florida. We won games all over the state, because Toronto's playing Tampa. We never really played in Tampa until that day, and on a Friday. Although that argument might be Like, that argument might be invalid because we lost in Orlando. That was kind of funny. That was a good game to watch. Friday is a different story. This is an embarrassment that I barely had sleep at night. This game is a disaster, and the Raptors have regrouped, and they're giving Miami some problems offensively. Their defense has sparked up while our offense was struggling. Their defense sparked while our offense was struggling. Keep those words in mind. Olynyk with 2 points, a disaster. Adebayo with 14 points with 8 rebounds. Gordon Dragic 13. Gabe Vincent 8 points and Duncan Robinson 11. Starters weren't as good as they were the other night. Kendrick Nunn was pretty much our leader off the bench, 22 points. Sakian with 15 points. Anunoby, 21 points. Baines, 3. Powell, 23. Van Fleet, 13. Lowry didn't play. But defensively, we were struggling. Their defense sparked while our offense struggles. This is not good for the Heat. This is not good for the Heat in our part. We got to do better. And our chance to do better is against Brooklyn, who was white hot. But this defense really struck to me this game that is why they are not the winner of the week. Despite the performance they pulled against Brooklyn on Saturday, they are not the winner of the week in my book. And I'll tell you flat out, I am completely baffled and embarrassed of how this game went. I almost want to say they're winner of the week if they have won on Saturday night. If they hold the defense down a little longer. We could not make a shot with other players. Let me explain. Kyler Olynyk, 5 points, too low. Harkless with 6 points, too low. By the way, he was hurt a little, so to give Harkless some leeway, benefit of the doubt, he was kind of hurt some part of the game with his, I guess his rib area or his hip area. And it might have been his leg, actually. So Harkless given him the benefit of the doubt. Gordon Dragic, 19 points. Duncan Robinson with 18 points. Bam Adebayo had 41 points. This is his best game. Bam Adebayo had 41 points against Brooklyn. This is a special player that we do rely on. But we can't rely on him forever. We have to rely on other people. Like Achua, he has 7 points. The biggest cost of the game is why they're not the winner of the week. If this is Andre Iguodala we're talking about. How is a veteran like Andre Iguodala making terrible decisions, who is so unselfish? He can't shoot the ball. Well, he could shoot the ball. But he's one of the players, and I think we figured it out. He's the player that's causing too many goddamn turnovers in this game. And then, maybe the other game, Andre Iguodala was a big fault in this one. Too unselfish. I think he should be benched for the next game because this is stupid what he's doing. This guy killed our game. This guy cost us our game. Iguodala with horrible passes, and that's one of the reasons we lost this game. Other than that, the offense for Brooklyn Nets was much better. Kevin Durant, 31 points. Joe Harris, look, let me explain something. You talk about the big three. How about you focus on other players too? Because you cannot just focus on the big three. That's how they get you. Big three, my ass. How about the big team? Because Joe Harris had 23 points. DeAndre Jordan, 8 points. but he had a lot. But he had 2 assists. Kyrie Irving, 28 points. What do you want me to say? James Harden, 12 points. But you want to know how many assists he has? 11. You know why? Because the Miami's defense were sleeping on other teammates like Joe Harris and DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan and James Harden having that chemistry already. Too many alley-oops. Come on, wake up. Green, 11 points. Perry, 4. Wake up, defense. That's all I'm going to tell you. Wake the F up. Wake up. Because our next game is against Brooklyn. And we have a tough week. This is going to be a very tough week if we cannot get our act together. Because after Brooklyn hits, we're going back home to face Denver. They are 9-7. And look, Denver, 5th place. Want to know who's going to be? Want to know who else we're going to play in this same week? LA Clippers, Los Angeles, the city that killed our NBA Finals run, who ended our season in the finals. The same city, different team. LA Clippers is in 1st place in the Western Conference. This is a big week, and if we cannot get our act together, this week is going to be a disaster. And by the way, this is going to be on prime time. This is going to be on TNT. We need our players to step up, and we need Tyler Hero to come back and Jimmy Butler come back as soon as possible. Because right now, this is not looking good. We got the Nuggets on Wednesday, Clippers on Thursday, and the Kings on Saturday. And after that week, we play Charlotte, Washington twice. And we go up here in New York, in which, by the way, New York is doing pretty good. On a positive note, finally, we go to the winner of the week, who are pretty well deserving. More deserving than the Heat, in which, by the way, I understand they play less games. They only played 1 game last week. But you cannot deny the results compared to these 2 teams. And it's the Florida Panthers. They played against Chicago on Tuesday night, the same night that, 11-2 Hurricanes. I mean, what can I say, really? Okay. They're playing against the Blackhawks. The first period, Carter Verhaligchi. This is a tough name to pronounce. I'm sorry. I should know these names by now. Assist by Alexander Parkov and Anthony Duclair. 1-0 Florida. Patrick Hornquist, another goal, which is from the power play. 2nd goal of his season. It is assisted by Keith Yandel and Aaron Ekblad. 2-0 Florida. Now, Dominic Kubalik with the power play goal for Chicago, right? And now it is 1-2. Lucas Walmark and Duncan Keith with the assist. Now, in the second period, Carter Verhaligchi. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name. 2nd goal of the game. 1-3, assisted by Anthony Duclair, 2nd assist. And Alex Wenberg. I've heard of him. I think Carter was from Tampa Bay Lightning. I could be wrong, but I think he was the guy from the Tampa Bay Lightning when he won the Stanley Cup last season. Dominic Kubalik with the 2nd power play goal, assisted by Duncan Keith and Lucas Walmark. Then, surprise, surprise, Patrick Kane ties the game for Chicago. Best player of the team, Patrick Kane. Assisted by Nikita Zadorov and Connor Murphy. This is a problem. This was a problem. The defense was starting to wear down, and Chicago's offense was getting better. This was a problem. Then in the 3rd period, things were really, really interesting. Philip Kurashev with taking a lead for Chicago. This is by Dominic Kubalik and Adam Buckwest. Then out comes Patrick Hornquist. Second goal of the game, third of the year, and it was a power play goal. A power play we needed, and assisted by Keith Yandel and Jonathan Huberdeau. Huberdeau is still our best player, but the game was crazy. It was so crazy that the goalies were actually on point. It was desperation, desperating and needed stops for both teams. Then we went to overtime, and I wouldn't be surprised if we would go to shootout, which was the one thing I was paranoid about. The goalie Bob Karofsky, who making the start, he was having an interesting day. Gave up 4 goals and a lot of good saves. When the halfway mark of the overtime, first overtime of the year, Alexander Barkov and Mackenzie Weegar were on the ice, and guess who else was on the ice? And this is the guy who won the game for us, Frank VATRANO, a veteran. Frank VATRANO with the first goal of the year, and it was a big one. The first goal and the first overtime goal of the year. Frank VATRANO won the game for the Florida Panthers. The final score was 5-4 Florida. A great win to celebrate, and what can I say? This was a good goal to cherish now. To this day, we're still undefeated, but some of them were for the wrong reasons. We haven't played much because of COVID impacting other players, so we can't play until Tuesday against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And we're going up in Columbus too, so this is going to be a tougher game because we're on the road, and we're better playing on home than on the road. In terms of Dallas and Carolina, we play them in February. The schedule has been made up in February. Anyway, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this week's recap. The Marlins schedule is out. Our first game series is against the World Series contender, Tampa Bay Rays. So that's going to be a fun one. So that's going to do it for this recap. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. And so in 2 weeks, right, I have an update. So in 2 weeks, I'm not going to do a Miami recap of the week on a Sunday. I'm going to do it the day after because I'm going to recap the Super Bowl. So it's 2 of my friends' teams, Gamerboy 9800 and MJ23. Dream match. All right, well, that's going to do it. This is Mirror TV signing out. Good night, everybody.